We're living it up with Lucy in the kitchen this morning. That's right. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
I like pumpkin stuff.
Yeah.
I like your pumpkin stuff. Can I call you out?
Yeah.
So this was so good that I realized that some of her pan was missing this morning. She said she had to try it out.
I had to try it out,
Yeah.
and then Spiro had to try it out.
And then Spiro had to try it out too.
But there's plenty of squares cut for everybody in the studio.
Good.
To try it out. Yeah, we're in October, so I usually like to make pumpkin stuff during October, and I typically make pumpkin bread with a streusel topping, but this time I thought, oh, well, let me make kind of a cake with cream cheese icing and do something a little bit different. And gosh, football's still going on. People are still wanting to, make stuff for parties. So this would be really good because you can make them ahead and cut them into whatever size you want. And they're really yummy.
Yes, I am very excited about today.
Good. Okay. So
what are we going to do?
We have 1 can of pure pumpkin in our bowl here. It's about 15 ounces. And I'm going to add 4 eggs. We're just going to do our liquid ingredients first. And 3/4 cup of vegetable oil.
What's the difference between a cake and bars? Because you know how people make bars?
I know. Well, really nothing. I think it's just the name. So that's really funny you said that, because when I was typing it up, I didn't know if I should put cake or bars. And then I don't know. I was like, bars, I felt like people might think were harder.
Ah.
I don't know. But
Oh, if you use your hands. Interesting thought, Chelsea.
Oh, maybe.
So if you use cake, you use a fork. If you use a hand, it can be bars.
Maybe. Well,
The
this could be
debate continues.
This could be a bar cake, because you could just go in there with your hand or use a fork.
Pumpkin cake bars.
Yeah. Allison, rename that, please.
Yeah, on the super graphic, we can write pumpkin cake bars. Well, now that we got that straight, so tell me about your mixing progress over there.
Okay, so we're mixing this up, and then in here, maybe you could pour these for me if you don't mind. We're gonna do our dry ingredients.
What am I doing?
So I have 2 cups of flour, if you wouldn't mind putting it in there.
Sure.
Yep, and then we have a cup of white sugar and a cup of brown sugar. And we just want to mix all our dry ingredients together before we add them into here. And then
all this too?
Yep, all that too. So we have half a teaspoon of salt. We have baking powder. Yep. We have, you got baking soda.
Baking soda.
And then we have pumpkin pie spice.
Pumpkin pie spice.
Which, instead of having to measure out cinnamon and nutmeg and allspice, we just bought it all ready to go in one. So now, yesterday, when I went to our 8 Mile store, because it's near our office, to get all my ingredients, and we have kids corners set up in all of our store with coloring sheets every month, and we have coloring contests.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. I saw a little girl sitting over there, and there were pumpkins on the table, and we're actually, we always, every year too, have where you can go in and decorate pumpkins. And it was so cute. And I was like, oh, good. I'm glad I'm doing something pumpkin, because I saw that little girl was having fun doing that. Yeah, so that's all good. So now we'll just start, and the brown sugar, is kind of clumped up, but it'll get loose. So now I'll just start putting some of the dry ingredients into the wet, and then we'll talk about what kind of pan we're going to use, and we're going to get it in the oven because we're going to make our icing later.
Pumpkin cake bars here on Studio 10. You don't want to miss it. Cream cheese, icing, all that good flavor, all coming together. Chelsea, you know what? I have to give you credit. I thought your point was good about hand versus fork.
Welcome back with our sweet friend Lucy from Greer's, and we are making pumpkin cake with cream cheese icing.
Yeah.
Joe calls them pumpkin cake bars with cream cheese
I like
icing.
that.
It makes total sense. But anyways, we've got pumpkin and cream cheese, so I'm totally sold already.
I know, seriously.
But something that's, it's just easy peasy. You and Joe just threw it together.
Yes, we already got our batter ready, and I was just adding the final dry ingredients. So we started out with eggs, vegetable oil, and a can of pure pumpkin, not the pumpkin pie filling, and some vanilla in our bowl. And then we mixed up our dry ingredients, which was flour, brown sugar, white sugar, and then we had some baking powder and baking soda to make it rise, a little bit of salt, and some pumpkin pie spice. So we mixed our dry ingredients separate, and then I've just been adding them in. And this is just the final bit of it, and then our batter will be done. And for this, one good thing about this recipe is that it makes a lot. So I am going to use, this is just a half-size sheet pan, which is about 15 by 18 with a 1-inch lip. But you know, just whatever, you know, the biggest pan you have,
right.
You can just use. And so then when you cut it into whatever size squares or, you know, rectangles you want to cut it in, it makes a ton. So it's great for a party or, you know, any kind of get together. And it doesn't take long to bake at all. So depending on the size, like this is going to be fairly thin. Once we pour it out, because this is kind of a big pan. And this only takes 20 minutes to bake, so 20 to 25 minutes, just depending on your size pan. And I have the oven on at 350.
Yeah.
And once we bake it, we are going to let it cool completely and then put a really yummy cream cheese icing on top, which is super simple to make as well.
And it's nice when you can make your own icing at home too.
And it is, you know, kind of fun. And of course, any kind of baking, and especially something really low key like this, is great for the kids. You know, like I always say, mine. Most of the time, the 3 of them want to help in the kitchen, but all the time, 2 out of the 3 want to help in the kitchen. And this is good, although last night I had the eggs out.
Uh-oh, that doesn't sound like a good start to a story.
I know, and I had them out, and I was getting something out of the pantry, and in the back of my mind, I was thinking, please don't drop an egg on the ground. Well, of course. Crack. And you know, Jack was like, Little dropped an egg on the ground. We call our little girl, her name is Eleanor, and we call her Elle, but as soon as we brought her home from the hospital, Spiro started calling her Little.
Yeah.
And so Little she's 2, and so Little dropped an egg all over the ground and it cracked, so she had to go to timeout. But besides that, it's low key.
Right. And something that's great about these squares now at our house, I don't know if this is a weird science, but when there's like a big cake, it seems like it doesn't get all eaten. It's slowly, but when it's in squares or something small that you can just pick up easy, you don't even have to use a fork,
disappears like that.
It's gone. So great for a party, like you said, great for kids to eat. But this is like super simple.
Yeah, super simple. So now I'm just gonna pop this in the oven and like I said, about 20 minutes, and it'll, you know, brown up nicely, and then we'll get to work on our icing, and I have something, one already baked that we can ice up.
Sounds good. Now we do want to talk about Greer's markets. Wednesdays are big for you guys.
Yeah, our ad breaks on Wednesday, and we're so excited about the fall. I told Joe, I was in a store yesterday, and we have pumpkins out, and you know, kids were over there coloring their little coloring sheets, and we have, you know, mini pumpkins and big pumpkins, and it's just nice to kind of be in fall, and always something going on. We've been working on our plans for our downtown store.
Right.
So we've begun some work on the outside of the building, and it's a store on St. Louis and North Jackson. So the outside work's being done. We're finalizing the plans for the inside. We're hoping to be open February 1st. So everybody keep your fingers crossed. I know, for sure. So always kind of plugging along and trying to work on new things for everybody.
Of course, and you can find all information about Greer's on our website, their app too, which is phenomenal. So go ahead and download that in the commercial break. But when we come back with Lucy, we're going to be making that icing, one of my favorite parts. Joe and Michael, I know that you are excited about that too.
Chelsea has made another good point. She talked about how if it's like a cake that you have to cut, sometimes there's some left over, but when it's in square bars, it seems to disappear. Welcome back. We are in the kitchen with Lucy from Greer's. As promised, let's see if we can take a shot of not only that, but the pumpkin bars. Oh, is that a hole there? Is one missing? What about this over there?
How was it?
Is that half of one? What's up with that?
Half of one.
So I will tell you that I ate the whole one, and Chelsea took one bite and then put it back like a weirdo.
Well, that's how she keeps that rockin' bod.
Yeah, right.
In the year of 2019, I will remain silent at this point, and we will talk about pumpkin cake bars.
Okay.
So tell us what we're doing here.
So we're making our icing. We have our pumpkin bars already in the oven, which actually they may be ready to come out because it only takes 20 minutes. Yeah, you want to pull them out?
I will.
Awesome. Oh, look, I spread it out really, really well. It's not lopsided at all, y'all.
That's all right.
but they're gonna be good. So that only takes like 20 minutes or so, and we have to let those cool completely. And so I have one that I already baked, and I iced half of it, of course, to cut some up, but we have, one side left over that we can ice. So we started with 6 tablespoons of butter and also 8 ounces of cream cheese. Both of those were just softened. So I'm mixing it up with also a teaspoon of vanilla in here. And now we're going to add in 3 cups of powdered sugar.
Okay. And
then we're just gonna start mixing it, and then I have some milk here, and once it starts coming together, it'll take about 2 or 3 tablespoons of milk just to make it where it's a spreadable consistency. So just depending on, everything, just start pouring a little bit in, and then
just depending on everything.
Just depending on everything. The weather,
Hey,
how you measured.
I want to make one other point, though. We were debating the name of this, cake versus bars. And Chelsea's point was good, that you eat a bar with your hands.
Yeah.
However, even though you can eat this with your hands, when you bite into it, it really is soft, like a cake texture.
It totally is, and that's why I was not sure what to call it. So it really is like cake. And these are really, really yummy and super easy. And we are making a cream cheese icing, so once we ice the cake, it's good to keep these stored in the refrigerator, just so that icing stays nice and fresh.
Y'all, it is a perfect recipe for fall. You're absolutely going to want to make this for your friends and your family. To find out more about Greer's, to find out more about this recipe, go to the Studio 10 tab on fox10tv.com. Lucy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
They will continue to disappear in the remaining minutes of the show. Chelsea.